I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, seal my greed. That's how I get it, success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on dangerous, down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank, I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze, the roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag, I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need the brag, I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket, Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit, nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead, watch out, get ahead, watch out, get ahead. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 64. Marina Rodriguez going against Amanda Lemos. And yeah, I think this is 1-800 Gambler Card of the Year. I mean, so many sketchy fights, so many fights that I do not want to bet on. I mean, do I really want to bet on Ramona Pasquale? No. Do I want to bet on Chase Sherman? Absolutely not, especially at chalk. But yeah, another sketchy card. I thought last week was a very sketchy card, and my goodness, did it ever play out sketchy. We had some questionable decisions. I mean, a judge scored the Tim Means fight for Tim Means. We had the Jacoby fight that a lot of people thought that Jacoby won the fight. We had the injury in the main event. I mean, it played out very sketchy, and kind of the same thing here. I mean, this is bad. This is very, very bad. So I'm keeping it light. I kept it light last week. It worked out. Had a winning night. Keeping it light this week. I have like 7 bets on only 4 fights. So I'm only betting on 4 out of these, I think 12 fights. So keeping it short and sweet. And just saving it for next week. Next week we have a much higher level card in UFC 281, which is a phenomenal card with a phenomenal main card, and it's a card that I've already started researching as well. And I think there's going to be a lot more spots next week. But there are some spots I really do like on this card, and we'll talk about those. And as always, we'll talk about the card from a DraftKings perspective. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. The goal was to get 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are pretty far away, but maybe we can make a big push towards the end of 2022 and hit that goal. I would appreciate that so much. But yeah, I do want to shout out the sponsor before we get into the chat here. Shout out to Verdict Tournaments. I'm sure the majority of you have heard of Verdict MMA, but have you heard of Verdict Tournaments? Verdict is built for MMA and is based on the fight outcome. You don't have to worry about how many strikes are landed or how many takedowns a fighter gets. You pick the winner, the method, and the round. Compete against others to win cash prizes, and you can enter up until the co-main event. Download the Verdict app, go to Verdict Tournaments, and try it out. This is a brand new look at daily fantasy sports and is built for MMA fans, and I'm sure they're going to be doing something pretty big next week for the pay-per-view as well. So if you guys have not checked out Verdict Tournaments, be sure to do so, and I'm sure, like I said, they're going to have something pretty big for next week. But yeah, guys, I'm going to shout out the chat here, say what is up to the chat. As always, we have the first one in here. We got MMA Propaholic. What is up? And by the way, MMA Propaholic did post his very first ever YouTube video. I've not been able to check it out yet, but I will be sure to do so tonight. But yeah, if you've not checked it out, go check it out, guys. Propaholic out there making some videos now. I did see him on the MMA Engine as well. Did a great job. So shout out to Propaholic. First one in the building. We got Level Up saying, Fandera, get some help. Yeah. I agree. Andy Mush saying, let's go. What is up, Andy? We got Spencer saying, let's get it, Spencer. We got Tony C in the chat saying, what's up, Brady? Another Sketch City USA this week. Absolutely. But hopefully we can all make some money. That is the goal. I'm the one saying I hate this card. I kind of agree. EJ saying, let's make some money, boys. That is the goal for sure. Lucid saying, I've been watching your channel for a few months now. I appreciate how you break down the fights and give information. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, Lucid. You know, when I break down fights for the UFC, I don't have any notes. All the notes are in my head. I feel like I do so much research that all the notes are already in my head. So I kind of go off the top of my head in the prediction videos and everything. For Contender Series, I have to have notes because, you know, I'm looking at these fighters for the first time. But yeah, I put a ton of research in this, a ton of tape study, a ton of stats going into this. So I just kind of kind of speak my thoughts. So thank you, Lucid. It means a lot. Mystery saying I'm awake now. Well, you're gonna be falling asleep for the Pasquale fight. I can guarantee you that. Daz even saying movie might get knocked out. Let's go. We got Boris in the chat. What is up, Boris? We got Bill in the chat saying it's time to make the monies. Yes, sir. Yeah, Boris. 5 fighters missed weight today. Looks like Shani Young went back and cut the weight and cut her hair off to make weight. So technically 4 fighters missed weight. So you got this wildness on the scales. Michael saying I got Batista finish only at plus 165. What the heck? Mario Batista? That can't be right. Dropped to plus 125 within minutes. Just a heads up, y'all. Let me know where you got that line because I will be smashing it if it's a real. There's no way that can be, though. I mean, I saw it at like minus like 400 and 300, something like that. So if you got that, Michael, heck of a bet. Sean saying, let's go, Brady. Let's go, Sean. We got Get Darkstroke. What is up? We got Michael saying, Brady, let's get those bets. Let's get it. We got Zayed in the chat. We got James in the chat. Emrod all day. I kind of agree with you there. Benito Lopez built like Ben Askren. Yeah, we'll talk about Mr. Benito Lopez off of a 3-year layoff. I did not think he looked the best on the scales. We got Prince as well. We got Han in the chat. Large saying a prayer for Phil Haas and JP Bays. Yeah. Tough situation there with Phil Haas last week. Got brutally knocked out, and JP Bays, he'll bounce back. But it's been a rough go for JP Bays. Smoothie saying, Brady, thank you for the streams. No, thank you for hanging out. We got Zach in the chat saying, I made $100 worth of bets for this card at the casino and won it back on blackjack. There you go. Playing with house money tomorrow night. There you go. Love to see it. We got Ace in the chat. What is up, Ace? How you doing? We got Nicholas in the chat. What is up, Nicholas? How you doing? Gaming Wolf saying, too bad we still can't play DFS in our province. I'm missing it already. Yeah, hopefully they bring that back, man. That sucks. Saying good luck to all. Aiken saying, here we go. We got James in the chat as well. And we got Nicholas in the chat from Germany. What is up, Nicholas from Germany? All right. I say we get into it. If you guys have not smashed the like button, be sure to do so. But we will go to the first fight of the card. And this is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the year. Lowest level fight of the year. I think it's probably even lower than like the Dean Barry, Mike Jackson fight. And that was super low level. But this is bad. This is very bad. And I see a ton of people betting on it, which I get it. If you're going to bet this fight, you bet on Ramona Pasquale. She seems to be the dog of the week, and I get it totally. Tomorrow's Vidal should not be the favorite at all. The line makes no sense at all, and the line is closed up a lot. It's now about a pick'em, or it's getting there. I'm guessing by fight time it will be a pick'em. But I'm not betting on this fight. I stopped betting on these fights a long time ago, and since I've stopped betting on these fights, my results have went up. My mental health has went up. And yeah, I just would never bet on this fight in my life ever again. So I'm not betting on this fight. It's clear dog or pass with Ramona. But I mean, you go and watch tape on Vidal and, nothing's good. It's all bad. Her striking's bad. Her wrestling's bad. Her takedown defense is bad. Everything's bad. Her level of competition is bad. She's a brown belt in BJJ. I mean, I saw her get a heel hook. But my goodness. And then you go watch Ramona Pasquale and you're like, is this much better? Is Ramona Pasquale much better? I mean, this is hard to watch. And I mean, like I say, it's dog or pass, but it's a pass for me. I was honestly tempted. And shout out to Wheezy. Wheezy had to kind of talk me off the ledge a little bit. I was like, Wheezy, I'm tempted to bet Ramona Pasquale. And he's like, what is wrong with you? Don't do that. And I'm like, you're right. No, you're right. This fight should not be bet on. So I know a lot of people that have action on this fight. Best of luck, but these are the types of fights that just take years off your life. Ramona Pasquale did miss weight. Just another reason why probably don't want to put money on this fight, but she did miss weight, and that's expected. With an ass like that, she's going to miss weight. So, yeah, this is a pass if I've ever seen one from a Draftkings perspective. I mean, maybe a couple shots on Ramona here just due to the fact that nobody's going to have her. Nobody's going to have this fight, and it's such a bad fight that maybe somehow something weird happens and it scores good. But so for that reason, I have some Pasquale, but this is tough. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we have to watch on Saturday. And my goodness, just shame on the UFC for this one. Crip saying hardly any value on DK plays. Would you play the 2 women in the main event on the same lineup? I don't hate that in cash. Personally, I do think there's some solid plays down low for cash. Like I don't mind Mark Madsen for cash. Don't mind taking a shot on Derek Minner in cash just for the upside. But if you want to stack it in cash, I think that's fine. I think there's a good chance it does get extended. Level Up saying, I got to take Ramona as an underdog. Yeah, if you got to take something, it's Ramona. Sean saying Ramona all day. Got Black Bone saying, what's up, Brady? Ramona by decision is the way to go. I agree. I think it's by decision. Gaming Wolf saying Ron by decision. I could see that. Vidal got okay jiu-jitsu about it. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Ramona by split decision. Ramona was absolutely teeing off on Edwards with 45 seconds left in the first round. That was a tough fight to watch. Ramona debut for UFC Stay Away. People don't have to bet every fight. Shake my head and let the fights come to you. Yeah, that's a good strategy. Let the bets come to you. And whenever I do that, whenever I let the bets come to me, I seem to do much better than just going out there and forcing things. Ass only second to Parker Porter. That is facts. That is facts. Parker Porter, pound for pound, biggest ass in the UFC. No debate. Can't see the channel of Uncle Weezy on Sunday. You can't see the channel. It's on Pub Sports Radio, Stat Diggers, me and Weezy on Sunday there. Always a great time. Guitar saying you think you could DM me yeah, hit me up on Twitter. I got you. No surprise that Askval missed weight. Yeah, it was not a surprise to me. She was one of the 5 fighters that did miss weight. Yeah, I knew what you meant, James. I got you. And James saying Ramona should win. All right, enough of this. This is horrible. Moving on to Jake Hadley going against Carlos Candelario. And Candelario is another guy that missed weight. He didn't look the best. Didn't look horrible, but he missed weight nonetheless. Jake Hadley is a minus 250 favorite. And it's one of those spots where I think Hadley wins. I think it's a tailor-made matchup for him. I think the UFC is doing a big favor for him here. Trying to get him back in the win column after dropping the debut to Alan Nascimento as a pretty big favor, which is kind of sketchy. But, Carlos Candelario has some of the worst takedown defense you'll ever see. A gust of wind can go out there and take down Carlos Candelario. So I see what the UFC is doing here. They're trying to get Hadley a win, and I think he does go out there and get that win. Minus 250, though, I don't know. He's dropped the ball before against Alan Nascimento, but man, he should win this fight. In terms of a bet, I was thinking maybe Hadley by decision. It's plus money on, I think it was DraftKings, like plus 110, something like that. But seeing Carlos Candelario on the scales kind of scared me away from that. At this point, I would just say Hadley as like a parlay piece, if anything. But even then, I'm like running to the window for it. So I like Hadley to win. I think it's a good matchup for him. I think it's a very winnable matchup for him. But I'm just not in love with the price, to be honest. I'm trying to do a better job this year, and I have, at like not going out there and laying a ton of chalk. I'm trying to look at, getting these underdog prices. If I do like the big favorite, getting the price down to like a pick 'em with a method or a round or something like that. And yeah, I think Hadley wins, but just minus 250, I'm okay, especially after seeing him drop the ball against Alan Nascimento. From a DraftKings perspective, though, that's where I do have interest in Hadley. I love the takedown upside. Maybe he can finish Candelario here. Candelario is a black belt, but he has to put himself into a ton of bad spots. But yeah, I think Hadley goes out here. He gets a lot of takedowns. I think they're going to come easy. I think that Candelario has great scrambling ability, a good get-up game, honestly. So maybe that's going to lead to even more takedowns. And I think that Hadley has the ability to wrestle for a very hard 3 rounds. I've seen him go, later into the fight before, no problem. The cardio is not an issue. So I do like Hadley here, but mostly from a DraftKings perspective, from a betting perspective, not much really sticking out. Get Darth saying this fight's going the distance. Yeah, I kind of think the same thing. The only thing that did scare me, like I said, was the weight cut of Candelario, but I kind of agree there. Philip on the finish, plus 225. Yeah, the problem with that for me is just Candelario is just so hard to finish. He's never been finished in his career. Even Tatsuro Tara did not finish him. He fought a black belt on the Contender Series. Candino was not able to finish him. So he's just very durable, great submission defense. That's kind of why I am leaning towards that decision. But if you got a bad weight cut, maybe the finish could be there. Hate the pricing for DK. Yeah, I don't kind of low with it this week. Fight goes to decision. I can see that. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way as well. But the fight goes to decision is like you're laying quite a bit of chalk on it. The fight goes to decision is sitting at like minus 200, minus 190. I see a minus 180. We're saying a betting on him for decision, likely a safe one. Not sure if it will go to decision. Hadley's ownership on Draftkings is only projected at 10%, so yeah, it could be a good play. Yeah, I like Hadley on Draftkings. I think he has a ton of takedown upside. Candelario is getting a second shot and blows it by missing weight. Yeah, not sure what happened there. You think Hadley or Maverick scores more in DK? I think Maverick scores more. But I think both can put up really solid scores. Both have takedown upside, control time upside, but I think Maverick has more finishing upside. They're saying I put $20 on Pollyanna to sub Jinyu Fry after I watched Kay Hansen do it in round 3. I think that's a solid bet. Maybe we'll talk about that fight very soon as well. I just want to see if I missed anything here. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Johnny Munoz Jr. going against Ludovic Shalinian. Another fight where I like the favorite to win, just not completely in love with the price. The only way I'd really play this would be Johnny Munoz Jr. by submission, which is like plus 300. But even that, I'm not, too interested in. Another fight that I'm just going to kind of pass on. Not a really big fan of Ludovic Shalinian. I'm not really sure what he's good at. I mean, he's a good wrestler, has that wrestling background, but the striking's not there. And if he does take this fight down to the mat, I mean, he's going to be, playing against a very dangerous Johnny Munoz Jr., who's very dangerous off of his back, very dangerous on top, legit black belt in BJJ. I kind of see this fight hitting the mat at some point, but if Shalinian's able to stuff the takedowns here of Munoz, keep it on the feet for 15 minutes, it's probably going to be the worst fight on the card, but Munoz is not going to look minus 250, but my thinking is this fight does hit the mat at some point, and when it does, it's going to be Munoz's world. So I like Munoz by sub, plus 300, but it's not something I'm kind of running to the window for. From a DraftKings perspective, I do like the Munoz side for that submission upside. If this fight does hit the mat, I think he's very live for a sub. But again, not something I'm completely crazy about. So the picks, clearly Munoz here, just don't really like the price tag, and I will take him to win by sub, but the sub prop is not something I'm running to the window for. So another fight I'm passing on. Don't worry, I'll get into some bets pretty soon, but these first 4 fights are fights that I do not have a ton of interest in from a betting perspective. Gaming was saying, Munoz, I like him on the spot for this week. If you're playing on DK, go light with him this week. Yeah, I don't mind him on DK. I have, a decent amount, not a ton, but I think he has that submission upside I like to see. Philip on the fight won't start round 3 plus 180. I kind of think that hits. I think I'm predicting a Munoz second round sub. I got Pollyanna and Maverick both by sub. I'm right there with you. Let's talk about that Pollyanna Viana fight. Going against Jinyu Fry, we have Viana minus 145. Jinyu Fry is plus 125. Not a big fan of either fighter. And I'm not a big fan of laying juice on Pollyanna Viana. That just doesn't seem like a smart decision considering she's not a minute winner at all. And you can see that by her finish rate, a 100% finish rate. She's never won a decision. She is 0-4 in fights that went to decision. And that's because, on the feet, she's not great. She's very flat-footed, very plodding, very hittable. And then she pulls guard all the time. She pulls guard. She's losing a lot of minutes off of her back, which is something you never want to late chalk on. But in terms of, picking a winner, I do like the Viana side. Because I think on the feet, yes, Jinyu Fry is the much better technical striker, but Jinyu Fry just doesn't throw anything. She's very low volume. I don't think she has the best gas tank. Whereas Viana, she's not the best striker in the world, but she's going to throw volume. She's probably going to have the power advantage as well. And at some point, I could see Viana pulling guard. And in this case, it's something I kind of do like against Jinyu Fry, who has been sub before. And Viana is very dangerous on the mat. It's just you want to trust Pollyanna Viana to go out there. And if this fight goes to decision, I'm just not confident she's going to get that decision because she probably is going to pull guard, lose minutes on the mat. The striking, you have to favor Jinyu Fry there, technically. But if I was to play this fight, one spot I was looking at was the Viana finish only, or the scorecards equals no action. And they are all over it and more. It was minus something crazy, minus 400. Minus 500 on some books. I mean, it's something crazy. So that's not playable, but that was something I was kind of considering because Jinyu Fry cannot finish anybody. And then Pollyanna Viana has that 100% finish rate. If anything, it's Pollyanna by sub, sprinkle, Pollyanna inside the distance, sprinkle, the first round sub, sprinkle, which is plus 900. But another fight where I just don't really want to bet on this fight. So another pass for me. Pollyanna Viana on DraftKings is something I don't mind because she has that finish upside, that 100% finish rate. but it's just hard to trust really either one of these fighters, especially as a favorite here for Viana. So I'm going to pick Viana to win by submission. But I mean, honestly, like it's a good matchup for Fry because Fry has phenomenal takedown defense. If Fry can stuff the takedowns here, keep it on the feet, stay out of the guard of Viana, it's a very winnable fight. I just think that Viana is going to eventually get this fight down to the mat one way or another. So yeah, Viana for me, but another fight where I just really don't want to bet it. Fry look jacked. Yeah, she's always jacked. She's absolutely always jacked. Always in great shape, even at 38 years old, 38, not 7 years old now. Polyana's got that bedroom cardio with Colby. That is very true. By decision only, yeah, I thought about it. It was like minus 115, I think, on DraftKings. I thought about it. Polyana round 3 or decision. I don't like that personally because I don't know if she can win a decision. She's never done it. I mean, she's 0-4 in decisions. So I would kind of look at the early finishes for Viana, if anything, but I'm not betting this fight. All right, let us get into the good stuff. This is where my action starts. Over 100 of you in here. If you guys can leave a like, subscribe, I do appreciate that so much. But we have Mario Batista going against Benito Lopez. Have a lot to say about this fight. This was a fight where I was doing some research the week prior, and something stuck out, and it was Benito Lopez. I was like, man, I've not seen Benito Lopez fight, and it has to be like over 3 years since we've seen this guy fight. And sure enough, it's been over 3 years since we've seen this guy fight. It's been like 3 years and 3-4 months. It's been a long time. And the reason I remember that was because I was on a cruise at the time, and I was watching the fight live on the cruise. And I thought that Benito Lopez clearly lost against Vince Morales. I thought Morales clearly won the fight 29-28, arguably a 30-27. And the judges gave it to Benito Lopez. I was like, what's going on? You look at the media scores. I think like all but one of the media scores gave the fight to Vince Morales. So I thought he lost that fight. I mean, I think he very well could be coming off of a loss here 3 years ago. But, he got the win nonetheless. So I'm looking at his Instagram, and I'm like, what has Benito Lopez been doing? A guy that, is trained at Team Alpha Male, and I've not seen a picture of him at Team Alpha Male for over 3 years ago. So as far as I'm concerned, he's not training at Team Alpha Male anymore, which is a big concern to me. It looks like obviously the big real estate narrative this week. I did see that last week, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But there's a lot of narrative in this fight, and that's kind of the sketchy thing about it. But narrative aside, I do like Batista in this fight. I think on the feet, it's Batista for me. I think he's the better striker, but most importantly, I think he has the better cardio. I think that he's the better grappler. I think he has all the grappling upside in this fight. Benito Lopez has never shot a takedown in the UFC or Contender Series, whereas Mario Batista is a brown belt in BJJ, really rounding out that game, completing takedowns at over a 60% clip. I think all the takedown upside is on Mario Batista. I've seen him push guys against the cage, like Jay Perrin, win minutes against the cage, mix and lose takedowns. And we have seen Benito Lopez taken down. We've seen him submitted. We've seen him controlled, like against Steven Peterson. We've seen him submitted against Manny Bermudez. So I think Mario Batista has multiple routes here. If he wants to stand and strike with Lopez, that's probably giving Lopez an opportunity to maybe land something big. But I think Batista is the better striker, and I think Batista is a better grappler. And Batista has been much more active. He's training at the MMA lab, great gym there. He's making a ton of improvements. He looked to be in phenomenal shape this week, whereas Benito Lopez, we have not seen him in over 3 years. I don't think he's training at Team Alpha Male. He's now in real estate. And he showed up today at the weigh-ins, and I expected this. I expected him to miss weight. I looked at him on Instagram, and I was like, "There's no way this guy's making weight this week." And fair enough, he didn't. I think he was the worst weight miss on the entire card, where 5 fighters missed weight. He did not look good. And of course, when fighters take these big layoffs, you can say, "Hey, maybe Benito Lopez took 3 years off, and he came back and he made a ton of improvements, a ton of adjustments." But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he's been doing over these last 3 years. And he did not look to be in the best shape. He looked kind of soft. This is a weird fight, but Mario Batista was my first bet of the night. I got him at minus 225 on Sunday, and I put 2.5 units on him. And then my plan all week was to add some violence as well. And the plan was to see what Benito Lopez looked like on the scales. If Benito Lopez looked good, if he looked in great shape, he's put in some work, over the last 3 years, I probably wouldn't bet the violence. But, since Benito Lopez did show up, He did not look great on the scales. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he's coming back 3 years later looking like I don't know. But I do like violence, especially after seeing Benito Lopez on the scales as well. So I put a half a unit on the fight doesn't go to decision at -105. So I have a bet on the Batista money line, and I also have a bet on the fight doesn't go to decision. At this point, obviously Benito Lopez or Mario Batista is a very popular play. People have done the research throughout the week, and now we see him at -400, which that's a little wild, but I think he should, especially after seeing Benito Lopez on the scales. I think he should go out here and win. Don't mind Benito Lopez as a parlay piece. If you can still get him better than -300, I don't mind that. It looks like he's still -300 on a couple books, but yeah, money just keeps pouring in on Mario Batista. And then yeah, the fight doesn't go to decision. It got hit a little bit. I still see it at like -106, -112 on FanDuel. I don't mind that. I don't mind the unders. FanDuel still has an under 2.5 at +118. I think somebody's getting finished here. Neither guy's lost by decision. I think Benito Lopez is going to go after it early. If he does not finish Mario Batista early, then I think he's going to kind of wilt under the pressure Batista, and I think Batista finishes him as the fight goes on. So, yeah, give me Batista. I mean, my night comes down to him. I mean, if Batista loses, I'm going to have a losing night, more likely than not, unless something crazy happens. So, kind of a sketchy fight because of the unknowns with Lopez, but after seeing him on the scales, I'm just not completely sold on the guy at all. So give me Batista to win here, and I don't mind him on DraftKings, especially from a cash game perspective. I think he's safe. I think he has some wrestling upside, so I don't hate him on DraftKings. Benito Lopez, probably not going to get to much, if any at all. Philip saying Lopez to win or Batista to win by decision. Batista to win by decision is... I see +125 out there. It was +155 earlier in the week. Goodness. But yeah, I don't mind that. Don't mind that. Batista's in a good fight. He's fighting a fighter who hasn't fought in a long time. It's been a long time. Brady, are you not subscribed to Benito's OnlyFans? I don't think he has an OnlyFans, but no, I'm not. Lopez doesn't have much of a shot, but he did sell me a beautiful 2-bedroom condo last month. Yeah, the guy's out there. He's doing his thing. He's doing his thing in the real estate. Batista all day. Lopez just has to finish out his contract. Plus, he's a contender series guy, so he'll lose. Would you rather go Mario Batista or Jake Hadley on DK? Man, I think Batista is much safer, but I think Hadley might have the sneakier upside, and I think Hadley's going to be much lower owned as well. So if it's cash, it's Batista. If it's tournaments, maybe I'd go with Hadley there. But both are phenomenal plays this week. You think you like the under, or is the finish going to come late? Yeah, I don't mind the under. I could see like a second round finish for Batista is what I'm kind of predicting. But I want the fight doesn't go to kind of cover that late finish as well. +100 for the under 2.5. Yeah, don't mind that. But yeah, if you have FanDuel, they have +118 right now. I'm on Batista by sub. Yeah, don't mind that. He's a brown belt. Lopez has been tapped out before. I think it's a good look. All right. So yeah, we'll move on to, this is probably my favorite fight. Never mind. We're going to go to Maverick Young, which is a good fight. We have Maverick going against Shanny Young. Shanny Young did miss weight. She ended up going and cutting that extra pound or so and cutting her hair off. Not all the way, but trimming it up a little bit, and she was able to make weight. So shout out to Shanny Young for doing that. She's not going to lose any money, but how's that going to affect her performance going and cutting more weight after she already tried to, cut the weight in the first place? I don't know, but either way, it's a tough matchup for Shanny Young. The line obviously does indicate that. Kind of a frustrating spot for me because I did bet the fight doesn't go to decision earlier in the week, and I got it at +125, which is a phenomenal line, and the line's been smashed all week. It's probably the most popular play of the week, and rightfully so. And my thinking was, they had Miranda Maverick inside the distance at +140, which I thought was wild, but they had the fight doesn't go at +125. So there wasn't much of a difference. So I did put a half a unit on that fight doesn't go at +125. I wish I would have played both. And even now, where the line sits, -105 for Maverick inside the distance, I'm actually kind of tempted to add on to that. I think it's a great line, or even money, or near even money for the Maverick inside the distance. She's literally like a -650 favorite, -700 on some books. I think she's very live to get the finish. Shanny Young's been finished by Maverick a couple years ago in the first round. She got finished by Sarah Alpar. and you have a minus 700 favorite. You know, why can't Maverick go out here and finish Shanna Young? I mean, if Maverick does not finish Shanna Young, she should be ashamed of herself. I mean, this is about of a setup of fight as you can get. They're trying to build up Miranda Maverick, get her a highlight reel win, and bump up that stock a little bit of Maverick. I mean, I'm shocked Shanna Young even showed up and is fighting this fight. I mean, it's a terrible matchup for Shanna Young. So Maverick has her covered everywhere. I think Maverick's a better striker, the better grappler, the better everywhere. And I know, I've heard people say like Shanna Young's improved, since the first time they fought. Well, guess who else has improved? Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick was young when they last fought. She was like 21, something crazy like that. She was super young. So yes, Young has improved, but so has Maverick. I mean, I think this is Maverick, all day, which is no hot take. The line is obviously indicating that, but like I said, I'm kind of tempted, although I'm on that fight doesn't go to decision, I'm kind of tempted to just add on a little bit on Maverick inside the distance, which it got hit a little bit. It's minus 110 now, but still, I mean, about a pick 'em, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. On DraftKings, Maverick is my highest exposed fighter. I think she has takedown upside. I think she has finish upside. And like I said, she should be ashamed of herself if she does not finish Shanna Young. She should be ashamed of herself. So, give me Maverick. And Maverick to get it done inside the distance. All right. Plus 120 Batista finish. I'm telling y'all. Yeah, I think the finish is live. You got Batista in parlays. No parlays for me on this card. I bet him straight. Maverick by finish, minus 110 with a smart game plan. Wash, rinse, and repeat. I agree. I think the minus 110 is a good look. Young has already been submitted by Maverick. Yes, sir. Maverick round 2 sub. Shanna will put up a little bit of a fight. I could see it. I think I'm predicting like a first round, but I could see a second. Up to minus 800 on Bodog. Yeah, I mean it's getting hammered into all the parlays, and although I wouldn't really recommend a Miranda Maverick minus 700 play, it's just really hard to make a case for the dog. For some reason, I just cannot bet on women's MMA fight to finish. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I get it, but man, if Miranda Maverick does not finish Shanna Young, something's up. Something had to have went terribly wrong. Had a pretty big bet on Maverick inside the distance and Marina Rodriguez to win in rounds 3, 4, or 5, plus 400. Let's see what the ladies can do tomorrow. There you go. I like both those looks. Just Jeff saying, how many lineups do you normally create for DK? It all depends on the slate. Like for this slate, I'm probably going to do 150. For other slates, I'll just do 20. Just really all depends on the slate, but typically anywhere from 20 to 150. I learned from Brady that parlays are parlays. They're tough, man. They're tough. I mean, there's been so many things this year just have went completely wrong with the parlays. I mean, I can just name scenario after scenario where the parlays are just killing me this year. Actually, they're not. I think I'm up this year on parlays, but just like ever so slightly. And I want to keep it that way. I'm going to keep the parlays to a very minimum. More likely finish for Maverick, sub or KO, according to the odds sub, and I'd say sub as well. But the Bet Online had the KO at like plus 900 earlier in the week, which was interesting. But I'd say sub, but I would just take the inside the distance to cover both routes there. Okay, now we go to my favorite fight on the entire card. We have Shalinian, Nerdandbeccy going against Derek Minner. And I have 3 bets on this fight. I think the most popular bet is the under. The fight doesn't go to decision. And earlier in the week, I got it at minus 125. It's actually still minus 125 around there, minus 125, minus 130. And the reason I went with the under instead of the fight doesn't go to decision, because at the time, Bet Online had the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 230. And they had the under 2.5 rounds at minus 125, which is a massive difference. It made no sense to bet the fight doesn't go at that point. Money has came in on the fight goes to decision. Believe it or not, all week you can now get the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 152 best price. I think it's a good look. If I was not already on the under, I would be on that fight doesn't go to decision on FanDuel Sportsbook at minus 152. I do expect, from now on to when the fights, I do expect more money to come in on violence. I don't see why money would come in on the overs. It just wouldn't make a ton of sense in a fight like this, a Derek Minner fight where he's kill or be killed, and Shalinian Nerdandbeccy, who typically is kill or be killed in the UFC, not so much. That's why I was kind of expecting maybe getting a better price on these violence props, because Shalinian has been to decision in the UFC all 3 times. But I think it's violence here. I think violence is the best look of the fight. So I have 0.75 units on the under 2.5 rounds at -125. I also have a quarter unit on Darrick Minner to win by first round submission. And this line just doesn't make, it's one of those lines that just don't make sense. I mean, it's a must bet for me. Does it hit? I don't know. Is there going to be opportunities for it to hit? Yeah, there is. There's going to be a ton of opportunities for Darrick Minner to potentially win this fight by first round submission. I mean, at the end of the day, Darrick Minner has 20 first round submissions. 20. I mean, that's unbelievable. And you're getting his first round submission prop at plus 950. And it opened up -1,000. It opened up -1,000. I just missed it. So yeah, I'm on a quarter unit. Minner by first round sub plus 950. I know that's another popular play. And then I'm on a not so popular play here. I'm on the Darrick Minner finish only scorecards equals no action at plus 150 for a half a unit. The reason being is, I don't know. I mean, is Shalinian going to finish Darrick Minner? I think he could if Darrick Minner's like completely gassed, but just some concerning things I noticed were, in the UFC, Shalinian has attempted 0 submission attempts. 0. And we saw against Ryan Hall, Darrick Minner was able to defend like 7 or 8 submissions. If Darrick Minner's not subbing you, I mean, is Shalinian going to? Which I don't think Shalinian's a good grappler. I don't. I think he has a lot of submissions on his record, but they're against the lowest of low level, Chinese regional scene competition. And then I see him go out there and get tapped out by these low level fighters. I've seen him get submitted 6 times, and including an 0-1 fighter on the regional scene. I mean, I don't think his grappling is good. So Darrick Minner has been subbed a lot, but a lot of those are against solid guys, and a lot of those are he's really tired, and that could happen here. But since moving to Glory MMA and Fitness, Minner's cardio looks much better. He's not fighting like a complete idiot. He looks a lot better at Glory MMA. So I'm actually on the Minner side here. I know Shalinian's a very popular play, which is kind of crazy to me because against Sean Soriano, Nerdandbeccy was like almost plus 300 against Sean Soriano, which it makes no sense. I actually had a bet on Nerdandbeccy there. And then he's a pretty big dog against TJ Brown, but now all of a sudden he's a big favorite against Darrick Minner. And stylistically, I think this matchup's going to give Nerdandbeccy some problems. If Nerdandbeccy takes his fight down to the mat, he's playing with fire. Darrick Minner is absolutely the better grappler. There's no question about it. I mean, Nerdandbeccy is getting subbed by bums. And if he wants to keep this on the feet, like Nerdandbeccy is striking. He made some improvements, I suppose, but it's not great. So I do like the Darrick Minner side, but you don't bet the Darrick Minner money line. You bet the sub prop. You bet the first round sub prop. You bet the finish only. I'd be shocked if Darrick Minner won a decision. So those are my 3 bets. I think violence, most importantly, under 2.5, the fight doesn't go to decision, are the best looks. I like the Darrick Minner first round sub, and I like that finish only for Darrick Minner. If it goes to decision, the bet is voided, and that probably means that Shalinian was able to avoid all the submission attempts. If Darrick Minner wins inside the distance, that bet hits. So I'm looking to kind of hit a home run here with hitting the under, hitting Darrick Minner first round sub, and then hitting that finish only. That'd be a nice night. But yeah, from a Draftkings perspective, though, I think it's a borderline like a must-own fight. Darrick Minner, if he wins, it's probably by first-round sub. And Shalinian, if he wins, it's maybe a late finish, takedowns, control time. I think the winner scores very, very well. But Darrick Minner, 7,300 on Draftkings, is a very good dog just for the upside there. So, yeah, I love this fight. 3 bets. Most of my action is on this fight this week, so that should be fun. Shalinian KO. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I would lean with the Shalinian KO. I just don't think he's good on the mat at all. I think his submission game is like super overrated. Yes, he's subbing these bums, but if you're not subbing Sean Soriano, something's wrong. And like I said, Ryan Hall's not submitting Darrick Minner nowadays. So Minner first round sub plus 550. Yeah, if you have Draftkings, it's like plus 700. If you have Bet Rivers, it's plus 950. There's another book that has plus 950. There's some really good lines out there for Minner sub. What's up, Propaholic? How you doing? We got Kiwi in the chat as well. Darrick Minner, solid dog, but I'm taking Shalinian. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I get why Shalinian's the favorite. I mean, he's going to be the minute winner in this fight, and Derek Minner has a slim path to victory. That slim path to victory is in the first round, more likely than not. But I mean, the path to victory is absolutely there. Minner is a pea-brain, worst IQ I've ever seen. No way I can bet him ever again. Yeah, I agree, but it's gotten a lot better since working with James Krause, but I can't deny that. But yeah, cannot wait for that fight. All right, moving on. Random Maverick is not letting Shanna out of the first. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Oh goodness, Minner first round sub plus 1150. I'm jealous. Yeah, I just missed the plus 1,000 on it. That line's. I mean, he's only done it 20 times. He's only done a first round submission win 20 times. That's wild. So we'll see if that hits. If it hits, the MMA community is going to celebrate because a lot of people are on that first round sub. Okay, moving on. Grant Dawson going against Mark Madsen. This was the last of the weight missers. So we had Candelario miss weight. We had Ramona Pasquale miss weight. We had Benito Lopez miss weight. We had Shandy Young miss weight. And we had one Grant Dawson miss weight. And this is one I've been kind of debating all week on whether to bet Mark Madsen. And I was probably going to pass until Dawson did come in and miss weight. Because we got to remember, Dawson is coming in here on short notice. He's a guy that we have seen slow down drastically before. He did not make weight, which is not a great sign to me. Whereas Mark Madsen, he did have a full camp. He was training for Jakar Close. And not a lot of people are talking about the massive improvements of Mark Madsen at Fight Ready. I mean, Fight Ready has, leveled this guy up. This is a guy, Mark Madsen, who his striking's looking much better. Went out there and outstruck Clay Guida across 3 rounds, and nobody saw that. I was picking Mark Madsen in that fight, and I was shocked that he went out there and outstruck Clay Guida for 3 rounds. Went out there and beat Vince Pichel. His cardio is looking better. This is a guy that gassed out bad against Austin Hubbard, but since moving to Fight Ready, the cardio looks better. The striking looks better. This is a weird fight because I think it's close. I think it's a very, very close fight here. Grant Dawson to win this fight. I mean, is he going to be able to go out there and take down and out wrestle an Olympic caliber wrestler and Mark Madsen on short notice? Is he going to be able to do that for 3 rounds? Is he going to be able to outstrike Mark Madsen? And I don't think Dawson's striking is that good. He's another guy that has made some improvements, but still super hittable, 45% striking defense. So there were some other spots I like. Like, I didn't mind the Dawson by sub at plus 410. Like, if you like Dawson, you got to like that sub. I mean, I would not lay minus 230 on the guy because I think if this fight does hit the mat and Dawson is able to get on top or take Madsen's back, I mean, the sub's super live. Dawson is the better grappler by a mile. But is he going to be able to do that? Is he going to be able to take down Mark Madsen? Is he going to be able to out wrestle him for 3 rounds on short notice? I'm just not convinced. So I think it's a close fight. I'm leaning the dog and Madsen. Like I said, was maybe going to pass, but after seeing Dawson at the weigh-ins, I had to pull the trigger. And by the way, I just missed the plus 200. I got plus 195 for a half a unit, and it's still around there. I think it's like plus 192. So yeah, I'm on the Madsen side. I know it's I don't know if it's an unpopular pick, but I've got a lot of messages this week about Grant Dawson. Somebody was really mad that I said Mark Madsen was the better striker, and I think he is. I've seen Mark Madsen go out there and win fights with his striking where I've never seen Grant Dawson go out there and win a fight with his striking. I mean, the guy's grappling's phenomenal, but the striking is not great. So give me Madsen for the upset, half a unit, plus 195. If you like Dawson, why aren't you betting the sub prop at plus 410? That makes no sense. And that's kind of the one thing that kind of almost scared me away because Dawson, brown belt in BJJ, Mark Madsen, white belt in BJJ. But I'm taking the dog shot on Madsen here. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't mind Madsen as this big of a dog. I think the line should be much closer. 7,200. I don't mind him. Think it's a good look at that price tag. Think it's a nice option for cash as well. Get you some salary savings. So give me some Mark Madsen. We'll see what happens. But I think it's a very winnable fight for him. I think at the very least, he's not going to look plus 195. At the very least, he's not going to look plus 195. I was kind of thinking maybe the Grant round 3 prop, the Grant round 3 sub prop. But, after seeing Dawson on the scales, I don't know if he's going to be able to, have a ton of cardio in the third round. Like, we've seen him completely fall off a cliff in the third round before. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Interesting fight here. Dawson, Madsen does not go to decision plus 140. Very confident. I was kind of leaning that way earlier in the week, but I changed my mind after digging in more. I'm leaning Madsen by decision. But earlier in the week, I was like, yeah, fight doesn't go as a solid look, but I'm on the other side now. I think Madsen by decision. Do you think the weight miss is a big advantage? Not really. I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, but it just shows me that he didn't have a full camp. He's coming in here on short notice, and Mark Madsen's a tough guy to come in on short notice for him. And then sub plus 300, Madsen plus KO plus 1400. Yeah, I think if there's a sub, it's Grant Dawson. I'd be shocked if the white belt and Mark Madsen sub Grant Dawson. I mean, that would be insane. I'm just going with the Mark Madsen money line, but I was tempted on that Dawson sub. Santino was pissed. Check out his latest IG post. I'll have to check it out. Mark Madsen by split decision. They feel like this one can be greasy. I feel like it can be as well. Madsen's going to put on the clinic. I don't know about a clinic, but I think it's going to be a close fight. I never bet a fighter that misses weight because if it's a close fight and goes to judges, they'll give the fight to the fighter that made weight all day. Yeah, I kind of noticed that sometimes as well. I don't know if that's always the case, but I have noticed that. Dawson striking is terrible. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Is Brady on Shavkat to finish Neil? You betcha. You bet I am. Haven't taped it yet. Just going off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a good chance. Dawson is an alumni of the Ben Askren School of Striking. That is true. I'm not confident in Grant. Maybe I'll change my pick to Madsen. I mean, yeah, Grant could win, but minus 210, it's just, I don't know. I think that's too wide, but we'll see. It could be wrong. Maybe Dawson takes him down and subs him in the first round, but I don't know. Moving on, Tagir Ulanbekov going against Nate Maness. Nate Maness made weight. I mean, which this was one of the fights where I wanted to see him on the scales. He looked horrible. He looked terrible. He looked bad. I mean, what? I mean, he should not do that ever again. I mean, I can't imagine how that's going to affect his performance. He looked rough on the. I mean, he made the weight. Shout out to him, but just did not really inspire any confidence in the Nate Maness side. And I'm already on Tagir. As far as a pick goes, I said to myself, I'm never betting a Nate Maness fight again. I just continuously lose money on this guy's fights. I bet Tony Gravely against him, was super confident. Tony Gravely knocks him out. And then all of a sudden he comes back to life in the second round and knocks out Gravely. I bet Luke Sanders against him. Luke Sanders is beating his ass. And then all of a sudden, Luke Sanders, like Luke Sanders fashion, falls off a cliff. He gets clipped and subbed. And then I bet the under in the Umar Nurmagomedov fight, thinking Umar should be able to go out there and finish this guy. And that's not the case. Maness survives for 15 minutes on the mat with Umar. So I'm done betting this guy's fights. And plus, I mean, Tagir Ulanbekov minus 225. I'm okay on that. I was kind of looking at the Tagir decision only, but they did a really good job with like these finish only and decision only props this week. Usually they get some like wrong and really wrong a lot of the times, but this week I thought they did a really good job. Like with the Viana finish only, they did a great job. Same thing here with the Tagir decision only. I think they did a great job pricing it at like minus 300, 400, something unplayable number basically. So yeah, the picks Tagir. I do like Tagir on DraftKings. Takedown upside, control time upside, only 8,600. So I'll have Tagir on DraftKings, but from a betting perspective, nothing's really sticking out. I would say Tagir by decision, but Nate Maness looked rough on the scales. So a finish would not shock me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not betting on this fight. I'm not betting on Nate Maness fights anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of losing money on it. So pass, but Tagir on DK is where I'm gonna kind of look. Maness looked like a corpse on the scale. Mans is getting scalp. Yeah, he looked rough. It was kind of hard to look at, to be honest. Like it was very hard. Maybe he's gonna, I don't know. Nate Maness, stop. Don't do that again. I mean, he made the weight though, which could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. I think Tagir can get his first finish in the UFC due to Maness's weight cut. Greetings from. What is that? What is that flag? Let me know what that flag is. It's not. I don't know. It's hard to see, but yeah, greetings. Sorry, it's hard to see the emojis on the computer. for some reason. Victor, what is up, Victor? Saying, what's up, Brady in chat? Sorry I'm late. So did anybody else miss weight today? Everybody missed weight. Everybody missed weight today. Yeah, tons of craziness at the weigh-ins, man. Tons of craziness. Definitely not parlaying this. Yeah, I wouldn't parlay him. I wouldn't. I mean, Maness just has a way of getting it done. Peru, got you. What is up? I was liking Nate Maness, but he posted a picture on IG after he made weight and looks like a skeleton. Yeah, I saw that same picture. Terrifying. Just terrifying. Paul Hughes just won Big Daddy some stacks. What should I do with my winnings, Brady? I think Maverick inside the distance is a solid look. I like Benito Lopez. I like the Minner Violence. Those are probably my favorite spots of the card. So it's a sketchy card. I wouldn't give it all back away. I did not ignore Big Daddy. Trust, I did not ignore you. I can't see Tagir lose again with Khabib in his corner because it can be his end. Yeah, he lost to Tim Elliott last time. To be honest, I mean, Tim Elliott did like cheat a lot in that fight. So I don't know. Who do you have on the Pasquale and Vidal? Pasquale, but I'm not touching that fight. I'm not even thinking about touching that fight. But there's no way Vidal should be a favorite against anybody in the UFC. Anybody. Okay, moving on. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, yeah, this, I mean, Chase Sherman, John, I mean, who cares, right? Like, why would somebody bet on this fight? Why would somebody lay chalk on Chase Sherman, man? I mean, this is flip a coin on this one. You know, is Sherman the better striker? Yes. But if Sherman ends up on his back, he's going to get finished. I mean, one takedown, the fight is going to be over shortly after. I mean, this is another fight where I don't want to bet this fight. I mean, Jared Vandera was like the most bet on underdog last week, play of the week last week. And to be honest, Jared Vandera actually impressed me. He is on like a 5 or 6 fight losing streak at this point, but Jared Vandera did impress me. But I mean, still, I don't want to bet on these kinds of fights. I mean, this is the second lowest level fight on the card, and it's 2 fights away from the main event, or 1 fight away, 2 fights away. Yeah, I'm not betting this fight. I'm not touching this fight. I could care less about this fight. I don't even know if I'll watch. I might make dinner during this fight. Sometimes I like to go make my chicken. During I think this is gonna be the fight where I just completely like I don't want to watch this fight. I didn't watch the Chase Sherman Jared Vandera fight last time. I was making dinner. I was making my chicken, and I might be making my chicken this. I could care less. The over 1.5, if anything, but that would mean I'd have to put money on this fight. So that's not going to happen. On DraftKings, though, as sad as it is, this is a fight that it has to be targeted at these price tags. 8,200 for Sherman, 8,000 for Parisian. I'm going about half and half, 50-50. A lot of exposure on it because you have to at these price tags. You have 2 finishers. Chase Sherman, a 94% finish rate. Parisian, an 86% finish rate. Sherman's been finished 6 times. Parisian's been finishing half his losses. On DraftKings, that's where I'll be getting my exposure. But in terms of betting this fight, no. Absolutely not. I would never bet on this fight. These are the types of fights that take years off your life. These are the types of fights where at the end of the night, you're looking yourself in the mirror and said, not only did I bet Chase Sherman, who's awful, I laid chalk on Chase Sherman. I've been there. I laid chalk on Gina Mazzani, and that was the worst day of my life. Laying chalk on Gina Mazzani against Shanny Young, watching my money just, I don't know. I wanted to smash my TV. So these are the kind of spots where I've been trying to avoid this year, and I've had a lot of success doing that. I've had a lot of success not betting on these awful fights, and this is an awful fight. I don't care what anybody's. If you're looking forward to this fight, you are I don't know, something must be wrong. I mean, because I could care less. Every other fight in the card is I'm looking forward to outside of the freaking Pasquale fight, but this fight, no, and it's on the main card. Brady or on Lopez? No. My biggest bet of the night is actually on Batista. Brady, do you prefer turkey or ham for a sandwich? It'd be turkey, but I don't really eat sandwiches nowadays. B-Cam's like the turkey. They're both going to lose first time in the UFC history. Oh, they're both going to. I mean, maybe the draw could be in play then. Maybe both guys are so bad that neither deserves a win. I mean, I know Uncle Weezy was calling for the draw in the Pasquale fight because both fighters probably don't deserve to win the fight in the UFC. So it's a mess, man. Mess. Call the orderly. Yeah, if you bet this fight, you need the orderlies. But there's a ton of people on Chase Sherman, which I get it to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, you're laying chalk on Chase Sherman. But I get why people are doing it. I'll take Parisian as a pick. Yeah, flip a coin and give me Parisian to land on top of Sherman and pound him out. But I'm not betting this fight. All right, moving on. Co-main event: Neil Magny, Daniel Rodriguez. I'm kind of tempted on Daniel here. I do have a good amount of them on DraftKings, 7,800. I think those priced to actually be a lot closer. I feel like it should be like an 82, 8,000 type situation, but we're getting a pretty good deal on D-Rod on DraftKings, so that's where I'm going to have a lot of exposure on. I'm kind of tempted on the money line to a certain extent. He's like plus 105 I saw last time I checked. We'll see if that line's still there. Plus 100 now. I just think it's a solid matchup for him. Like on the feet, I favor D-Rod quite a bit at range. Although he is going to be at a height and reach disadvantage, Daniel Rodriguez throws a ton of volume. He's going to have a massive speed advantage. And Neil Magny, for him to win this fight, he's going to have to close distance, which we are in the small cage, which you got to think it does favor a guy like Neil Magny, closing the distance, pushing D-Rod against the cage. But I think D-Rod's kind of hard to hold against the cage. I think he's very physically strong, very hard to take down. He's a BJJ black belt. I feel like Magny is going to struggle to kind of hold D-Rod against the cage, and I think he's really going to struggle to take him down. So, yeah, if D-Rod can keep this at range for 15 minutes, I think he can win a decision. The only problem is this fight is probably going to go to decision, and at that point, you're going to have to trust the judges to get it right. The judges have been atrocious the last couple weeks. I mean, I've got screwed 2 weeks in a row with these judges. I mean, I don't know what they're watching. It should be a crime that a judge last week scored the fight for Tim Means against Max Griffin. Like, that's awful. And don't even get me started on the Jacoby fight. And I picked Roundtree to win, but I thought it was clear Jacoby win. But yeah, I mean, D-Rod, I like D-Rod at plus money, but at the end of the day, it's going to be close. It's going to go to the judges. The judges are completely blind. They don't know what they're looking at. And who knows? So, yeah, I'm probably going to pass here, but if I was to play it, it would be D-Rod, but I'll be playing him on DraftKings, that's for sure. Rodriguez plus 100, my favorite pick of the night. I don't hate it. I think he wins the fight. He wins the fight. But who do the judges think are going to win the fight? I don't know. It's all up to the judges. It's going to be close. It's going to be greasy. And I think a pick 'em is probably about right for this fight. But I would be on the underdog money with Rodriguez as well. D-Rod, only the underdog because he got the Rob win against Lee. I was kind of thinking the same thing. People are very down on D-Rod because he did fight up a weight class, kind of on short notice, a little bit out of shape, it looked like. And he did not have the best performance. Still got the win, but did not have the best performance. But he looks to be in great shape this time around. Rodriguez did not look good in his last fight, but I think there were outside things he was dealing with. Yes, I think he was dealing with some outside things. And like I said, he did not look to be in the best shape in that fight. And they say nevertheless won. Give me the dog Rodriguez at these odds, and I'd be right there with you if I was to bet it. If I avoid betting Pasquale, then she definitely gets to finish. The MMA gods hate me for some reason. I'm sure that's not the case. Sometimes it feels that way, though. D-Rod, staff rumors had me scared to bet him. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there as well. And I think he had like some type of injury as well. Not only did he have like staff, or he had like a wrist injury or a shoulder injury. So yeah, we'll see. Rodriguez parlay for me. I think that hits. Saying the split decision. Yeah, split decision's probably very live. What about D-Rod snatching that neck when Magny shoots for a sloppy takedown? I could potentially see it. Magny has been subbed a couple times, 5 times actually. My gosh. So that could happen. I mean, D-Rod did it to Tim Means, but Tim Means was really hurt at that. I mean, yeah, maybe the sub could be live. Let's see what the sub is on some other books, because BetOnline has plus 800. And by the way, Mario Batista now minus 450 on BetOnline. Minus 450. So I wonder how wide that's going to get. But anyway, Rodriguez by sub. What? Rodriguez by sub on FanDuel is plus 1,600, and Rodriguez by sub on BetRivers is plus 1,700. That's kind of wild, right? I mean, Magny's been subbed 5 times. Rodriguez black belt in BJJ. Yeah, plus 1,700. Goodness. D-Rod finish only. I think that's a great look. I don't hate that at all. Great bet. It's like minus 190. It's not even like completely overpriced. It's playable, but I kind of just I was like, I think it's probably going to decision. I don't really want to get too involved, but yeah, it's a good look. People are underestimating Magny. He'll look minus 170. I mean, he could if he's able to close distance, hold Rodriguez against the cage, take him down. He could definitely look minus 190. I just really struggle to see him doing that personally. I bet 200 for Shavkat to finish Magny within rounds 1 or 2, and he tapped with 2 seconds left. Yeah, I was right there with you. I had I think the under 2.5, or no, I had Shavkat inside the distance at a great price. I think I got like minus 120, something like that, minus 125. And I was like, is he really not going to finish Magny? But he ended up doing it, so I was happy. Definitely worth taking a sprinkle at plus 1,600, man. I mean, could you imagine hitting that? Like, I remember hitting a plus 1,400 submission prop, Vicente Luque against Michael Chiesa, the happiest I've ever been on any bet. I mean, hitting those, they're a ton of fun. So, and I mean, it makes some sense. Black belt, Magny's been tapped out a lot, got tapped out against Shavkat. It makes a lot of sense, more sense than the plus 1,700 does indicate. All right, main event. Rodriguez, Lemos. We have Lemos minus 225, or Rodriguez minus 225, Lemos plus 190. This is a spot where I kind of was looking for some violence, but they're all over it. I was hoping for some plus money here. And even at the current price, like minus 135, fight doesn't go to decision. I don't think it's the worst look in the world. Covers both sides. I think it's Lemos kind of early, Rodriguez late. I don't mind the Rodriguez round sprinkles 3, 4, and 5. I don't mind the Rodriguez 4 or 5 decision prop, which is plus like 115, plus 110 last time I checked. I don't mind if you like Lemos, maybe the first or second round props, but if this fight gets extended, I mean, it's Rodriguez all day. Lemos slows down as the fight goes on. She slowed down really bad against Angela Hill in the second round, kind of took the second round off. Third round was really close. She had that fight with Leslie Smith years ago, which I think she's improved so much since then, but she completely gassed out after 2 rounds, and that was up a weight class. But, she has slowed down in fights that do get extended. I mean, she has a lot of finishes in the first round. First 5-round fight for Lemos. Never seen a 4th round, never seen a 5th. And Rodriguez has seen a 4th round. She has seen a 5th round. She's going to have the better cardio. She's going to have the better striking. But Lemos is going to be very dangerous early. So, yeah, I don't mind the fight doesn't go to decision. I was hoping for a better price. I was hoping for some plus money on it. Not going to happen. They're wise to it. I was hoping for some plus money on the under. Not going to happen. They're wise to it. Best price on the under 4.5 is like minus 122. Best price on the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 134 on FanDuel. So, yeah, I think I'm going to pass. But, man, just a couple ways I don't mind playing this. Like the Rodriguez 4 or 5 decision makes a lot of sense to me. But then again, she maybe finishes her in the 3rd round. So, I don't know. Rodriguez in round 3. Plus 1,400 on BetOnline. Rodriguez in round 4, plus 1,800 on FanDuel. Rodriguez in round 5, plus 24 on FanDuel. I think that's kind of where I'd look, if anything, but I don't really have a ton of interest in betting this fight. But yeah, Rodriguez for me, maybe a live bet on Rodriguez to get that price down. I think Lemos honestly could very well win the first round. It's just as the fight goes on, I really struggle to see Lemos having a ton of success. So I like Rodriguez to win. I'll say Rodriguez like a 4th round knockout, but no bet on this fight. I'm going to sit back and watch it. Yeah, I guess if you guys have, I think it's DraftKings, the same game parlay for Rodriguez, the over 1.5 parlayed with Rodriguez is like minus 120, minus 125, which is ridiculous. She's not finishing Amanda Lemos under 1.5 rounds. And it's just a great way to get that, Rodriguez money line from minus 225 to minus 125. It just makes no sense at all. Lemos by finish plus 300. In my opinion, it's a bad matchup for Rodriguez. I mean, if it happens, it happens, and it happens early, but I don't know about a bad matchup. I mean, I think the 5 rounds heavily favors Rodriguez here, but if Lemos does win, I think it's early on. Emrod is going for the title shot, just another fight in her way. I agree with that. I got a feeling this could end in a draw. Lemos having big moments in round 1 and round 2, close round 3. Marina takes over with volume in the 4th and 5th. Yeah, maybe Lamos can get maybe a 10-8 in the first round or two. Over is -360Y. I think there's a good chance. If it doesn't go over, it probably means that Lamos caught Rodriguez early. But yeah, the over at 1.5 is actually like -435 on Bet Rivers, which is it's not something I'd bet. I think it does go over though. I really feel like Lamos is the better fighter, but is she the better fighter across 5 rounds? I just don't think so. Alcoholic saying Brady, big card next week. Absolutely is a big card. 281. I'm going to try to get as many fights done as possible tonight, hoping to get at least half the card done tonight. It might even like skip the Pasquale fight tomorrow to tape some fights. Might even skip that freaking Sherman Parisian fight to tape some fights. So we'll see. All right, so going to quickly go over my action. Tons of passing, sketchy card, keeping it light, short and sweet, like last week. Had success last week. Hopefully some more success this week doing that. My biggest bet of the night is Mario Batista, 2.5 units, -225. I bet that on Sunday. To be honest, I did not expect the line to get to -425, but you know, the whole realtor narrative, the whole Benito Lopez looking on the scales, I can kind of see why people are rushing to put money on Batista. Also have the fight doesn't go to decision in the Batista fight, -105 for half a unit there. I have a half a unit shot on Mark Madsen, +195. Pull the trigger after Dawson missed weight. I don't think it's a great look for him, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a close fight. I have Maverick Young, fight doesn't go to decision, half a unit, +125. That line has obviously moved a ton, very popular play, but if you can still get Maverick inside the distance around even money, I like that, and I'm even tempted to kind of add on a little bit, but I don't know. And then I have the Minner scorecards, Eagles no action, half a unit, +150. Finish only there. I have the under 2.5 in the Minner Shalinian fight, 0.75 units, -125. And then I have the quarter unit sprinkle on the Minner first round sub prop at +950. My night pretty much comes down to Mario Batista getting the job done. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, should be a fun card, I guess, but a card that probably should not be bet on too heavily. I mean, a lot of these fights are very sketchy. So we will see what happens. James said, I'm going to UFC Fight Night in Orlando next month. That's all. That card is going to be good, and that's a Fight Night card. I'm kind of tempted to go there myself. I think it's December 3rd, something like that. Kind of tempted to go myself, but every time I I travel, I just get sick. So I need to figure out what's wrong, but I just keep getting sick every time I go somewhere. So I don't know. 2022 Brady Light winning by not losing. Love it. Yes, sir. That is the goal. Winning by not losing. I like it. I'm going to 284 Volkanovski, Makhachev in Perth. There you go. That's going to be a heck of a card. When is that? I think that's what? Is that in February? That's a while from here. Thoughts on this prop parlay? Viana sub, Batista sub, Munoz sub, plus 59.67. I think all three are very live to do that, especially, yeah, I think all three are very live to do that. You are allergic to going outside, Brady. That must be it. That must be it. Allergic to going outside. I don't know. Maybe I'm allergic to planes or something. I don't know what's going on. But maybe it's just a coincidence. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. My betting breakdown video is coming out in about 7 minutes, so check that out. Going live for Best Bet 1 hour prior to the prelims tomorrow. The prelims start at 4. I'll be going live at 3, so come check me out there. You can check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Usually do a lot of live tweeting during the event. Not sure how active I'll be this week, but check me out there. And yeah, guys, good luck. Sketchy card. Keep it light. Tried to keep it light on the Pasquale fight. I know, very popular underdog there, and try to keep it light on the Chase Sherman fight. And enjoy the card. Most importantly, enjoy the card. Let's make some money. We have a big card next week, UFC 281. Going to be trying to get that out early. I would hope to get the prediction video out on Sunday, but at the very latest, it's going to be Monday. So I'm going to work my ass off tonight and try to get all that done for you guys. So leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 64. See you guys.